Welcome, everyone. This is Marie Waite, and we are here at the Fire Up Connect studio. And today we have an amazing guest, and his name is Rick Morgin. Rick, how are you doing?
Fantastic, Marie. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes. So, Rick Morgan is a franchise consultant who helps a lot of people to be a business owner, and he also is a trusted advisor for a lot of executive leaders there. So tell us, Rick, how did it start for you?
Let's go back to the winter of 2015, where I
Okay.
was going through my third job transition. And I was at the point of having many years of corporate experience, accomplished a
Okay.
lot, and felt I could take some skill with me. Let me see what else is out there to find what I can do for myself. And I happened to go to it was a bit of luck. I happened to go to a network meeting, and this goes back to February 2015, and met a member of this networking group who had transitioned out of her finance career into franchising, and the light bulb went off. I investigated it and started my new career, a 180-degree career pivot almost 6 years ago. June of this year will be a 6-year anniversary.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, so let me understand your background, Rick. From where you came from. I mean, did you work for corporate world, and what was your experience there, and what are your educational background?
Yes, I'm in the San Francisco Bay Area,
Okay.
and I did my undergraduate and my graduate work at Santa Clara University. And right after I finished my MBA, I got my first job. I got my first
Okay.
job with a division of Seagram, the old Joseph E. Seagram and Sons company,
Okay,
and
so
it was
what is
with
the MBA for?
a master's in business
Business
administration.
administration. Okay. All right.
And so the division of Seagram I was with was called Paul Masson Vineyards. It was a winery. And so I started there, spent almost 20 years, well, actually over 20 years with Seagram, moving up the ranks and experiencing the sales side of it, the marketing side of it, and finishing in finance. And then
Okay.
when Seagram was disbanded as a company in the early 2000s, that's when I continued with finance, but landed with another big beverage giant called Constellation Brands, and had many finance roles with that company. And things happen. So after leaving that company, I went into a project with another competitive wine company,
Hmm.
and then an interim CFO role with a company, small company that was related to the wine industry, but really did all of the logistics and shipping for that direct to consumer
Okay.
channel, and also sold software for wineries, software platform for wineries. And that was an interim role. So finished it towards the end of 2014, and that led me to my next journey, or finding my next journey, which is the franchise industry.
Okay. So let me ask you, because I'm really trying to understand your experience too. What are some of your um, best accomplishments that you've done in those type of work that you've had before?
Well, a couple of that stand out are the first time I had a sales role. I was asked to move. I was single at the time, and I was asked to move and live and work in the state of Hawaii. So when I landed there, the sales trends were down 16%. And then 15 months later, I worked my butt off, but had fun, because that's what you can do there is you work your ass off and have fun. The trends had reversed and we're up 9%.
Okay.
Another time, I was asked to develop a new trade channel for the Seagram Beverage Company. We had launched Seagram's coolers, and didn't have a presence in convenience stores. And in a year, we went from a few thousand to a 500,000 cases of
Wow.
sold. And then moving on to Constellation Brands, at one point there were 5 business units. And then right before it was about 2009, the company decided to consolidate 5 units into one. And that was a big transition. I survived, and I was one of the finance leads for the sales organization. So those are 3 pillars of my corporate career that I like to talk about.
Wow.
You know,
Okay. And
that,
what are some of your best strategies that you apply as part of, working with these companies?
it's who's my customer,
Okay.
you know, and then if in the corporate world, my customer was the sales organization and their distributors that sold the product. So through those 2 entities, I would learn about their issues and then incorporate that into my business planning, and then be able to communicate that upstairs to my boss, and
Mm-hmm.
who could then easily communicate it to his boss.
Okay.
And so it was understanding my customer and then being able to communicate both upwards and downwards
Okay. So
through
so
the
there's a lot of
communication.
communication skills that need to be applied in order to
Correct.
make it successful, in regards to communicating whatever the initial plan that you have, and make sure that they have the right buy-in on
Yeah.
with the upper administration. I see. Now, because I see that you are, for you to help a lot of the companies to have a franchise company, it's a matter of really understanding who your clients are, and understanding how you can put together this business plan for them to be able to qualify for a franchise. Am I right?
You are exactly right. Yes, we know each other, and because it's through a questionnaire and through a more in-depth conversation. I My client and I, we're building a business model,
Mm-hmm.
and that business model includes their longer term goals. What are we trying to achieve?
Okay.
What are we trying to solve? How do we see ourselves conducting ourselves during the day, during the weeks? What interests them? What maybe might they be passionate about?
Mm-hmm.
What type of employees do they want to manage and employ? Operating hours, location, all of these aspects go into a business model that we
Okay.
build together. And then I will take that business model and over a few days' time, study it, and then put together a sequence of franchises that I think best fit.
Okay.
And then through that third time we talk, I'll present the business model, and we'll talk about the company. We'll talk about my thoughts, and then I encourage them to give my client to give me their thoughts on the the company itself, and getting that visual picture of being able to operate and be successful in that business.
I see. So the way I'm hearing what you're saying is that when you have a client and you're working with this client in regards to how to evaluate their business, so you're asking a lot of questions to make sure that they are positioned to be a franchise, right? So
Mhm.
what if they are not positioned to be in that level yet? I mean, how do you coach them? Do you train them? How does that work? And how long does it take for them to even get to that point?
Well, if business ownership isn't the right thing,
Mhm.
I try to discover that right away, so as not to try to pull them through a process. And that disqualification may come in a variety of ways. One is financially.
Okay.
Another is other aspects of that questionnaire or conversation we've had, the consultation. I mean, I'm trying to get a sense of this entrepreneurial spirit. So if they've never managed people, if they've never led a project, done a first, things like that, those are signals that the timing may not be right.
Okay.
And so if that's discovered, I mean, financial disqualification is easy, is easier, but the other characteristics of business ownership, I may offer them resources that I can connect them to create a path that will get them to that point if that's what they really want.
Okay.
I'm I'm not coaching them beyond that. Now,
I see.
if they are financially qualified, but never owned a business before and are interested and motivated to work with the process, that's where my coaching comes in. That's and
Okay.
that's where I feel I have a strength in order to help my client not only understand the business model, but get that visual picture of success and enjoyment and coach them through the ups and downs of and incurring fear and anxiety and
Okay.
hesitation.
I see. So, um, what are some of the standards or ideal criteria that you look for in order for a company to be qualified?
Well, I don't know if there are any standards because and I say that because the vast majority, in my experience, the vast majority of franchises will say you don't need industry experience. They're looking for those management skills,
I see.
the ability to understand the market, the business model, develop and motivate a team, implement marketing plans, follow the sales process. So, well, I guess now let me step back a bit. I mentioned follow a sales process. I would say a standard that I'm looking for is, and we talk about it, or is the candidate willing to follow a process? Because franchising is a process.
Okay.
One hurts their chance to be successful when they deviate from the process that's already been proven, the processes that they're expected to follow and implement, whether it's operations or supply chain or marketing or technology. And following those processes does provide a better path to success than not.
Okay. So you're talking about the people that are already thinking of buying a franchise. Am I right? Or these are the people that you're talking about, right?
Well, they are thinking about buying a franchise. They may never have owned a business before.
Okay,
So, yeah,
so we're talking about two different things here. So one is a group of people that wants to buy a franchise, and another group of people that wants to have their own franchise as
oh,
as their company being the franchise.
okay. Now I understand. Well, the yeah, yes, and I've helped business owners look into franchising their business and been successful in that respect too. So, one example is a restaurant owner that we connected in October. When we first spoke, I got to understand that his restaurant in Venice, California, was a destination, and then people were calling for it all the time. They would either see him there or follow up with him and ask, "Where can I find this?" And it didn't matter what part of the U.S. they were in, or it was internationally. Where can I find this in
I see.
my market? That's kind of an indication that the brand that he had developed should be replicated in other
Okay, so it's
cities.
already established in order for them because people are asking for it, and so there's a demand for their business to be on a
Yeah.
franchise level. Now, so for the people that wants to have their own franchise, so buying a franchise, What kind of franchise companies are we talking about that are available for them?
Well, that again depends on our conversation and developing that business model. But I mean, it's certainly a lot more than fast food and retail these
Okay.
days. It's fairly diverse. The portfolio of franchises that we represent cover almost 80 different industries. So if one is interested in home services, and that's pretty broad, it's a $500 billion industry, but every aspect of the home or building can be covered by a franchise. Or if they're looking at the medical field is starting to really come on with franchising. People may be interested in that, or education, or home health care,
Okay.
fitness, food, beauty, on and on.
I see.
That it goes back to that business model, and then matching that business model to the right industry and to the right franchise.
Okay. And definitely probably it goes back to if they can even have the capital to run the business, right?
Right. So if, I mean, generally speaking, so there's roughly 4,000 franchise brands in the United States or North America. 17%, almost, or a little over 700 of those are under $100,000 to open your doors, including the franchise fee. So on a scale of franchising, that's at the lower end. So you
Okay.
don't have to, it's a myth that you have to invest big to do well. You don't. There are some great business models in that lower range where they're scalable. You can increase your market share, increase your head count because of growing demand, and be successful.
I see. Okay. Now I understand. So for other business owners that are thinking of, looking into franchising. Now, if they have an existing business already, now do they need to have, I mean, would they require more capital to open up another location? I mean, how does that work? I guess I'm a little bit confused. So, for part of the process is for them to go through the process of qualification to have a franchise first, right? And then after that, how do they decide on the location? Is there a study that they need to do in order for that to happen?
Well, when I connect with a business owner, I will have them complete an intake form. And
Okay.
once that is completed, then I set up another call with our partner and department called Franchise Genesis. They do all of the legwork behind the scenes to get to the business to the point of being able to sell franchises.
I see.
And that could include writing all the legal documents, the franchise disclosure document, all the operations manual, the overall business plan for franchising, which would include target markets,
Hmm.
the franchise fee, determining the amount of royalty that they're going to charge, the marketing plan, a sales process strategy, and then even setting the business up with the right vendors to be able to increase their purchasing power to reduce costs for the franchisees
Okay.
if that type of equipment is involved. So that's a good 4 to 6 month process.
Okay. And are you pretty much hands-on on this entire process?
No, we have that department,
Oh, you have that
franchise
department that's
Genesis,
taking.
that does
Okay.
all of that background work. So once they become a franchise, then I can come back into play and try to find them the right candidates,
I
qualified
see.
candidates to take that business model. And if they're based in San Diego, the company's based in San Diego, and somebody in Denver, Colorado wants to implement it there, I'll try to find that qualified
Oh, so
candidate.
so you're in both side of
Yeah,
the
I'm
equation.
in both
You're in
sides
the
of the
front
equation.
end and you're in the back end too.
Yes.
Wow, that's
Now
amazing.
the portfolio of franchises we have, you know, they're in our portfolio before I didn't help them become a franchise. They're already a franchise.
Mhm.
We're just helping them grow. So part of my daily routine is to connect with business owners and see if they're interested in seeing if their business is franchisable.
Okay. So,
And
and you mentioned how many years again have you been in the franchising business?
almost 6.
Almost
June will
six.
be
So,
6.
in that whole 6 years, how many clients have you served?
6 years, close to 100.
Oh, close to 100. Wow. And do you monitor them or do you keep in touch with them for all those clients? I mean, that's a lot of clients.
Uh, as much as I can. I mean, one thing I like to do once a client is a franchise owner or the other side becomes a franchise is provide referrals.
Okay.
So if they need, especially on the business owner, a new franchise owner, if they need a business attorney or a CPA that has experience in franchising, if they need in certain types of insurance or
Okay.
want to be able to look at health and wellness plans for their employees, I can make those contacts, and I provide a whole list of referrals that they can reach out
Okay.
to
So most of,
to supplement what the franchise company may not provide.
okay.
Franchising may not provide health benefits for the franchisee's employees, so they may need to fill that gap.
I see. And so most of these clients that you had, you've received referrals from them already.
Well, I haven't received referrals from everybody, but
Yeah, but
some of
most
them
of
I
them.
do. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's awesome because that speaks highly of how they experience your, working with you. And so to have that testimonial and the record of accomplishment, actually it's pretty cool to see that. I've known you, Rick, for a short period of time, but so far you've done a great presentation for Fire Up Connect, and it's very impressive on how you've done that presentation. And you also were interviewed on our radio show, so I would like to really see more of your experience and background to be shared to people, because I think I find you very more of a very analytical person. It seems like you are very logical and you look at the information, and I see that you have a lot of good experience for people to see, because I was looking through your bio in LinkedIn. You've done a lot of things, like even you're an investor too. You have been on a lot of different things in life. You've done team management, and you've coached people for different things on strategies. So I think you have still a lot to share to us, and I would like to really see more of that in the future.
Oh, absolutely. You gave me an idea. Uh, I'll do webinars or web classes for prospective franchise owners.
Okay.
And in there, I have a slide or slides that talk about case studies.
Okay.
So if maybe by presenting case studies, and the next time we have this interview and conversation, we'll expose more of what I do, how
Yeah.
we work together, and why I do it.
Yes.
You know,
I think that's going to be interesting, and it's going to be good information for people to understand some of the case studies, because again, sometimes people can relate that way, aside from our discussion today. But I think that's a really good idea to share those stories to
yes,
people.
I agree. Stories can be impactful if they're
Yes. I think it
told the
would be
right
also
way.
good to bring some of your previous clients on the call, and ask them about their experience and see how they feel about the entire process. And I think that would be an amazing thing to do too.
That's a good idea too.
Yeah, yeah. Always good to get feedback from from clients, because that's what I did with mine. I've done so many projects, and whenever I need a testimonial, I'll just go ahead and go back to all the people that I work with, and they immediately give me their testimonial, either video or written testimonial. So I am very blessed by so many connections, and I'm sure that you have a lot of people who would like to share their stories for you. And I'm thankful for your time. Is there anything else that you can advise people that are listening to us right now?
Well, yes. I mean, if any of your listeners are having a thought of what else is out there, is now the right time to investigate opening a business. Even if you've never owned a business and you don't know where to start, I could be a reference, but it's a good time. It's a great time to start that research because consumer confidence is rising as the vaccinations roll out. And you can see it around town, whatever town you're in, when outdoor events were allowed, there was a tremendous amount of pent-up demand. And at least where I'm in Danville, early February or mid-February, when outdoor dining was allowed again, those outdoor spaces filled up. And it was so with consumer confidence due to vaccines, pent-up demand being released, with it being a less ease market as far as if you could look for a location, because the pandemic did have an impact on the economy, but landlords want to fill the spaces. So they're more than willing to negotiate. And actually, in the last 4 recessions, the franchise industry has led the way as far as increases in employment and business openings over the last 4 recessions. So I think it could continue. The trends in home ownership are really favorable for home services industry, meaning that the largest percentage of homeowners are now millennials. And in general, millennials will want things done for them and will spend a disproportionate amount of their income on having things done for them because they value other things, experiences, and of course, their time. There are great forecasts in the restaurant industry, and I read an article that had comments from multiple CEOs of major restaurant companies that they think this decade is going to be the roaring 20s for restaurants. Pets, the pet industry is a $100 billion industry, and in 4 years we'll get to about 125. The amount of pet adoptions during the pandemic were continuing month after month in double-digit increases over 2019. So now all of those pets have to be cared for, fed, played with. That's a big industry. So there's a lot of favorable signs that that one could look at if they're thinking about owning a business. And then again, with 4,000 brands, how do you find that right one? I can help.
It sounds so good. It looks like the future is very optimistic for people to think about owning their own business. And I'm so glad that you're able to share this to us, Rick, because, sometimes people just need to really understand what to look for and how to evaluate the future. Sometimes, if you provide all this information, then it triggers something. Yeah, I think I can do that, and with your help and your guidance, I think that will definitely, make a lot easier for them to really understand what they need to do. So I thank you, Rick, for your time. Now, what is the best way to get a hold of you if they need to talk to you about franchising?
Well, you can they can connect with me on LinkedIn. It's linkedin.com/in/Richard Morgin. You can call me at 925-324-6371. Email rick@thefranchiseconsultingcompany.com. That is a long URL.
Yes, but
It's all
that's
one
good.
word. rick@thefranchiseconsultingcompany.com. I communicate on other channels like WhatsApp. So, you know,
Okay, so you're
look
also
forward.
available on WhatsApp.
Yep. Using my phone number, 925-324-6371. So
Okay.
that's another way.
Sounds good. Okay. So to all of you out there, this is exciting. Definitely reach out to Rick. And Rick is such an amazing resource for getting all this information on franchising. And even though you think that you're not ready yet, at least, connect with him and try to understand uh, what you can learn from it and how to keep working on your business to get to that level. I think when you surround yourself with amazing people like Rick, you definitely creating a solid foundation under your belt, and you wanted to make sure that you connect to the right people. So, thank you again for watching our show, and don't forget to subscribe on our YouTube channel, and we are also on Roku TV under Building Solid Foundations. I am your host, Marie Antoinette Wade, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.